Hi, in the previous video we've created the clan war, so now whenever we go to the war map we can see the players on each side of wars and we can switch between them. And now in this video we're going to create an option for the player to change the war layout. So to do that, first let me stop the server and client. Now, like always, there is a file in the description of the video that you can download. Let me extract that. And let's open this folder. There are a bunch of scripts and of course an image. Let me first start by the image. I'm going to go to my sprites and I am going to drag and drop this image. Now we're going to select the image and I'm going to change the texture type to sprite 2D and let's apply the changes. We're gonna use that image in a minute, but first let's go back to the scripts and go to the UI. In the UI clan, we need to replace the content of this UI clan with the content on this folder. So let's open the UI clan on this folder as well. I'm going to select all the content and I'm going to copy it. Let's close this. Let's go back to the client side and select all the content here in the UI clan script. Clear them all and paste the new content. Now we need to do the same thing for the UI war member. So let's open this up as well. I'm going to select all the content, remove it, and now let's go to the folder. I'm going to open UI war member, select all the contents from here, and let's copy this and let's go and paste it here. So now we got those two functions. The other two functions, which is the war layout and war layout building, these two functions are new, so I'm just gonna drag and drop them into my UI folder in the scripts folder. Now of course we are getting a bunch of errors. Now next thing we do, we're going to go and open the data script on both sides. First let me open this on the client side. I'm going to select all the content and remove it, and let's go to the server side and let's open data, select all the content and remove it. Now let's go back to the folder. I'm going to open the data script. I'm going to select all the content. Let's copy it, close this one and paste it in the data scripts on the server and data script on the client. So that's all for these scripts. So let me delete them and I'm going to delete the data script as well. Let's open up this functions script and now let's start by the client UI main script. I'm gonna open this region. There is one function in it and it is called data synced. It's a new function, so I'm just gonna select it all and cut this. Let's go to our client side, go to the UI main, and here at the bottom of our script I'm just gonna paste this new function. So that's it for our UI main. Now let's go back, and we also have an area for the player script. On the client side we have a function called sync data. This function is already exists, so I am just gonna cut this. Let's go to the player on the client side. Let's find the function. Let me just collapse some of these functions. So here it is, sync data. I am just gonna select it and remove it, and I'm gonna paste the new function. Now let's go back to the functions script. So we are done with the client side. Now let's take care of the server side, which is the database script. First let's collapse these functions. All of these functions are already exist. So I'm gonna start by authenticate player. Let's cut that, go to the database and let's find that. Here it is, authenticate player async. I'm just gonna paste it. One function down. We also have place building, which I am going to remove, and place building async. I'm gonna remove that one as well. We also have replace building and replace building async. I am going to remove all of them. Go to the functions and bring all four functions together. Let's cut them and let's go back to the database and paste them here. So I am going to close this functions script. Let's save everything else. And now let's get further down and find a function called get war members. Well, here it is, get clan members actually. Let's expand this. Let's get down here and I'm gonna add a new line called member clan ID equals to clan ID. There is also a small problem we need to fix in the get buildings, which is here, and I am going to expand that. So we need to get two more variables. It is going to be buildings.xwar. So let me copy that, paste it here once and twice. It's going to be xwar, and it's also going to be ywar. So xwar and ywar is two new columns in our database that we need to get. We can also place that here to assign the value. Let me copy that, paste it here. This is gonna be xwar and going to be ywar, and this is going to be building.warx and building.wy. Now let's go to the client side. Let's go to the UI building options, and down here I am going to add an extra condition to this lines. Let's say UI main dot instance dot is active. So let's copy that, and now I am going to add it as an extra condition saying and. Let's paste that. So this is an extra condition. Let's paste it for this one as well, for this one as well, and this one I'm gonna put this in a parenthesis, and after that parenthesis I'm going to add the new condition. Well, here it is. Let's just go back and find the camera controller script. Let's scroll down and let's see, here it is in the screen clicked. But before that, let's take a look at the move started. I'm just gonna add another or here, and I'm gonna say UI war layout dot instance dot is active. So let's copy the function and let's paste it in the zoom started as well. And now let's go to the UI battle. Here in the UI battle, and I'm gonna set the default value for is active to false. So let's find the is active. It should have been up here, but apparently it's further down. So let me collapse some of these functions. Well, it should be somewhere around here. Here it is, active equals to false by default. Now back to the camera controller. Here in the screen clicked, well, we're going to add another condition here. Let's say else if UI war layout dot instance dot is active. So to write the code for this part, I'm just gonna use this part in the UI main section. From here I'm gonna select everything. So let me select everything of this if statement which checks the results count. Let's copy that and paste it inside here. So it is going to check if the results count is less than 0, and here in the else area I'm just gonna remove all this extra code and just leave this simple lines. And let's get up here, and everything else looks fine. We don't need to change anything else. Now we gotta take a look at the UI build script. So let's open that up. Let's go to the confirm function, and right before we send the packet here in the UI confirm, I'm gonna add a bunch of more conditions. So let's copy two of these lines and paste it here, and I am going to check if the UI war layout dot instance dot is active, and if it is active we are going to pass 2 as our layout, otherwise we're gonna pass 1. And for the second one we are going to say UI war layout dot instance dot placing ID. And now I am going to add a if condition right here. First I'm gonna check if UI war layout dot instance dot is active, and then I'm gonna check if the UI war layout dot instance dot placing item is not equals to null, I'm just gonna say destroy this UI war layout instance placing item, and then set that item to null. And I'm going to copy this function, this if condition, and paste it right here in the cancel as well, but with a small difference, and it is, we're not gonna destroy it, we are going to dot set active to true. Now let's go and find the building script. Here in the scripts, in the building, let's find a function called save location. Here it is, the last function. I'm gonna add another condition right here. Let me just copy that, paste it here, and this is going to be, we are going to check if the UI war layout dot instance dot is active. If it is active, we're gonna pass 2, otherwise we're gonna pass 1. And now here I am going to add an else to this section of the code, and inside that I'm gonna do another if statement, and I'm gonna say if the original x equals to current x and original y equals to current y, then I'm just gonna set the base area to false. So basically that's all we needed to do with our code. Let's go back to the Unity project, and in the scenes, let's go to the game scene, and here in the canvas, so we need to create another layout for that. But before we get into this, let's get down here, open the panel war and panel map. Here in one of the maps, doesn't matter which one, I'm just gonna drag and drop the prefab, and I am going to drag and drop this UI war member under one of these positions. Let's take a look. Well, it's not visible. Let's add some numbers. Let's say -50, and I am just gonna copy that for the rest of them. So this is our UI war member. I am just gonna add another empty game object, name it select effects. So it's just an empty game object. Let's select this and assign the selected effects, and inside this I'm going to create an image. And if you remember, we imported an image. I am going to assign that image. Here it is. Let's preserve aspect, and let's remove the raycast target. Well, I might want to increase the size a little bit. Let's say 120 should be fine, I think. You can change the size to any number you want, doesn't matter. Make sure it is balanced with the size of your town hall icon. So that's good. So let me apply the changes to this prefab. And of course I need to edit the prefab. I don't think I can just drag and drop and reposition the elements. I need to open the prefab to do that. So let's just delete that one. And here in the UI war member in the prefabs folder, I'm just gonna open this, and I'm gonna drag the select effects to the top here, so it would go under other images. So that's it. I'm gonna go back, and let's hide this clan area for now. I am just gonna duplicate, let's say shop. I'm gonna duplicate that panel, name it war layout, and let's remove this function. Let's go to the scripts, UI, and UI war layout. Let's expand this. I am going to open this up. So this is going to be the elements. We need a back or close button. Well, it's actually written battle button. Let me change that to back button. Just gonna rename that. Let's say back, and apply. So that's our back button. Let's get back here, and for now I'm just gonna assign this close button, the red one up there. We don't need the background image. We actually want to be visible. We want to see the grid through this canvas, so I'm just gonna delete that. And I think this is UI main blocking the view. Let's go to the UI main and disable that. Now we are seeing war layouts only. This is the buildings, which I am going to bring down here We need that, actually, we need that list. So let's take a look. I think that's just fine. Let me set this to 0. We don't need all the buildings. Let's just use one of them for example to make a prefab out of it. So to make a prefab, first we are going to attach this script UI war layout building. First, let me rename the game object and let's remove that, assign the UI war layout. And here we go, we need a button and we need a name. We have both of them here. So let's take a look at the text. Let's set these values to 0. Here it is. And this is going to be our button. This is text. And I think we can change the size a little bit. Let's say this is good. And I might change the text, doesn't matter. We're not working on the UI. And let's go to the prefab, make a prefab out of this one, and let's delete that. Let's go to the war layout. That is going to be our grid, and that is going to be our prefab. And I think that's about everything. Let's go to the start scene. And let's save this scene. And now let's go to the server. And I think here in the terminal, we should have a couple of errors. Let's take a look here in the data. Yes, we have errors. One of them is in the build request ID and the other one is in the replace building ID. So to solve that problems, I'm just going to create another integer here, name it layout build, or any value you want is equals to packet read integer. And also we need a database ID, which is going to be packet.readLong. So we are going to pass the build layout and database ID here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get a layout here in the replace as well. Let me paste that. So this is going to be replace. And we're going to pass that replace value here. Layout replace. And now let's actually go back to the client. I forgot to change something. Let's go back to the canvas. Here in the clan area, we forgot to assign the values for our new variables. Let's go to the war panel. Here in the panel map, I'm just gonna create a new UI.panel and I'm gonna bring it, let's say bring it down here. I think something like this would be good. So let's set these values to 0. And let's get it a black color with a certain alpha transparency here. So this is good enough. Let's name it panel info or anything you want to name it. And here inside this, I'm just gonna create a UI text, which is going to be the name of the selected player. Let's bring it somewhere around here. Doesn't matter. So that's it. And let's center the position, maybe make it bold. And now I'm going to create a button. Let's say this button is for attack. So let's bring it around here. So that's button attack. And let's name it attack. So we can just go to the clan now and start assigning the buttons. So this is the panel, which is panel war map select panel. That is the name, war select name, and this is the button, which is the attack button. We also need a button to go to the war edit layout. So to do that, we can create a button right here. So let's say UI button. And let's bring it, let's say, somewhere around here. So that should be our edit layout button. Button edit layout, let's rename it. And I am going to change the text to edit layout. So that's it. And of course we need to select the clan and assign the button. So here it is, button war edit layout. And now let's hide the element, save the scene, go to the start scene, start the server first, and go to the client and play the client. Now this is our main layout. I'm gonna select my clan castle, go to the clan. I'm going to go to war, and as you can see, my town hall is visible on both sides. I'm gonna select it, and as you can see, it's gonna get highlighted. I have the option to attack, and if I go to the other side and select this is ally, I cannot attack it, so I can select and deselect. The same thing here, I can select and deselect. And of course, this is the edit layout, which I'm gonna select. And as you can see, some buildings has been already placed, but the buildings I haven't placed yet, here it is, the barracks. I'm gonna click on that. It's gonna place it on the grid. I can cancel it or place it. So right now I have no building to place anymore. So let's assign the position of these buildings. And as you can see, this is my war layout actually. So if I close this, it's gonna go to my main layout. This is my main layout, and let's go to the clan war edit layout. This is my war layout. And now if I close this and let's go to the shop, let's say if I want to place a gold storage, and let's place a elixir storage. So I have placed 2 buildings. And now if I go to the clan and war and the edit layout, this is both buildings. This is the new buildings that I have built, and I should place it on my war layout now. Let's see, here it is. That's one of them, and that's the other one. So that's pretty much it. In the next videos, I'm probably gonna handle the war and starting the battle. When we click this attack, we go to that player war layout, and we're gonna do the attack and stuff like that. And like always, the source code is available in the description of this video, so you can just download it. But the link to download this file is also in the description, just in case you want to follow me. And in any case, if you have made changes on your own version of the source code and you cannot just download the whole source code of mine and replace it, you already made a few changes and you want to just apply the changes to your own source code, then you can just download that file and follow me on this video. So we are getting closer and closer to the end of this video series. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to finish this in 2 or 3 more videos and start with a new project or something. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.